You know, Jody, it's been quite hot outside the last couple of days.
It has, and it's been making me think of summer, which then makes me think of fall, which of course makes me think of some USC football.
Well, it's not football season just yet, but we have plenty of football coverage coming up.
Because Sports Scene starts now.
The young people are very mature. That's the word that comes to mind, both physically and as you saw them today, the way they present themselves. They're first-class people that, have made the investment of graduating early, coming here, and really trying to jump ahead.
The newest members of the USC football team have made their presence known this spring. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to Sports Scene. I'm Jeff Dubrof.
And I'm Jody Sullivan. And in preparation for USC's final 2 spring practices, one of head coach Clay Helton's biggest takeaways this spring has been the effort from the newest Trojans.
But the storyline that everyone has been following is which of USC's quarterbacks will be replacing Sam Darnold. Matt Fink and Jack Sears are fighting to fill Darnold's shoes this spring.
But speaking of that youth, Sears and Fink will have the pressure dialed up come summer when JT Daniels officially joins the program.
With Sears and Fink battling it out, it's no surprise to anyone, but the offense has not been quite up to speed so far this spring. Coach Clay Helton says he wants to see more progression from his young signal callers.
I want them to be great field generals, command the offense, and see the ball move. And that's one of the things. I've watched that tape on Saturday, about a half dozen times, because I thought that was kind of our blueprint of what we're going to need to be early in the season. They didn't make critical errors. They took command and had great timing, great decision making, great accuracy. So I hope to see that Thursday in pads. We'll put them in some live situations again, and then obviously Saturday.
So, Jeff, I think we've started to see some progression from both Fink and Sears, but come fall, who do you think is going to get that starting spot?
You know, Jody, it's tough to tell, and let's face it, Sam Darnold is gone. He's most likely going to be the #1 pick in the draft. So how do you replace that and also a guy who threw for over 4,000 yards last season? Fink and Sears have been jousting for position all spring, but something tells me, honestly, Jody, neither of those guys may not be the starter come fall. You have JT Daniels, a prize recruit from Mater Dei, who threw for over 12,000 yards in his career and over 150 touchdowns. He's been at the majority of practices with quarterbacks coach Brian Ellis. I have to say, I think it might be JT Daniels come fall.
I'm going to have to agree with you, Jeff. I do think Daniels is going to get that starting spot come fall. But on the offense, outside of that quarterback position, they're replacing a plethora of veteran players. One such being tailback Ronald Jones II. Now, Stephen Carr was primed to replace the Texas Tesla, but he's now recovering from back surgery because of a herniated disc. But some good news, Coach Helton said that Carr is ahead of schedule in his recovery and should be back come fall. And now with a number of veterans like Deontay Burnett and Steven Mitchell Jr. leaving the wide receiver corps, we've seen Tyler Vaughns and Michael Pittman Jr. step up as wideouts. But Velus Jones Jr. has also been making a name for himself this spring.
Now, Jody, this is a defense, however, that is absolutely reloaded, and they're bringing back a lot of starters from last year's squad, led by veteran linebackers Porter Gustin and Cam Smith. The Trojan linebacking core is going to be a force to be reckoned with come this fall.
But for me, Jeff, I'd have to say that the defensive backs have really been the stars and kind of had made an impact this spring. You have veteran leadership in Iman Marshall, Ajane Harris, and Marvell Tell III.
I've been thoroughly happy with our DBs. I think they've really come together as a group and a core. You see them cheering for each other, even though they're in a competitive atmosphere and competing against each other. They're really supporting the group as a whole.
So Helton's praised his defensive backs for being the most communicative group this spring. He's praised Marshall's leadership and relentless effort, Harris's vocal leadership, and Tell's physicality. These 3 have guided their younger teammates through the spring.
Now, while the DBs have been great this spring, for me it really comes down to the leadership, as I mentioned, of guys like Porter Gustin and Cam Smith. Under defensive coordinator Clancy Pendergast in his 3rd season as the Trojans defensive coordinator, the defense seems to be coming along smoothly in his complicated scheme, which is creating trouble for the young offense. While Coach Helton enjoys seeing the defense succeed, he finds it very difficult to watch his offense struggle.
It's twofold. You want to puke in a trash can when you're the quarterback side, and then you're very happy because of what defense wins championships. And right now our defense is really leading our football team, and they're doing a really nice job, and that's going to be really important for us.
The Trojans will take the field for their spring scrimmage this Saturday. However, due to renovations going on at the Coliseum, the scrimmage will take place at Cromwell Field. Now let's send it over to Jody Sullivan on the couch as she sits live with today's special guest.
Thank you, Jeff. And now I'm joined by none other than senior outside linebacker Porter Gustin. Porter, thanks so much for coming in today.
Yeah, of course. Good to be here.
What are your thoughts, as spring ball is kind of wrapping up, what are your thoughts on your team's performance overall this spring?
I think we've taken a lot of steps, especially as a defense. I think we've really been able to take that next step as just gelling together as a team and really getting more snaps and getting, younger guys involved, and some of the guys that didn't play as much last year, more reps, and really involved with that, that older core of our defense.
Coming back as a senior, what do you think you can provide, both kind of to your other upperclassmen, but then to those younger guys that you said are coming in?
Yeah, I've really just focused on, helping them learn their assignments, learn, a lot of things from a mental aspect. I think we'll get a little bit more into the physical aspect in the off season, really get, extra workouts in and different things on the field. But as for right now, during spring ball, I think mentally is very important. Just taking steps in that area.
And personally for you, you missed a good amount of last season due to a couple injuries. What are you really most looking forward back, of course, over the summer, but then really once fall gets started?
I'm just looking forward to going out there and playing with my teammates again, my brothers, the guys I've been training with since I've been here for 4 years. So I'm just trying to get back. What I lost a little bit. I'm missing all those games. I'm not getting to play, so I'm just really mostly excited to be back out there with them and having a lot of success on the field.
Finding success on the field. What do you think makes this year's team special or different in the time you've been here at USC?
This year, I think we have more, veteran guys than we've had in the past, and not only, guys that have played a lot of snaps, but also we have a lot of talented depth, younger guys. So, it's not. It's just the same group out there the whole game, taking all the snaps, which really takes a toll and leads to people being tired and maybe getting tweaked up. So now we got guys that can come in behind them and play, really good and have a lot of success as well and really fill that spot.
So I got to say, we did take to social media and reached out to a couple people to get some questions for this interview. And your former high school coach, Coach Higginson, actually reached out to us. And he said everyone has their nemesis. And he was curious how you've been able to handle the adversity of being beat in basketball, trap shooting contests, and badminton.
Coach Higginson has a tendency to really, exaggerate things. So I think I remember that a little bit differently than he does. But I'll be all right and I'll get over it.
All right. Well, thank you so much again, Porter, for joining us in studio. We look forward to watching you guys prep over summer and as you head into fall for season. Now we're going to toss it over to Jeff, who's joined by Sarah McGrew to talk about the women of Troy finding success in the pool.
Thank you, Jody. I'm now joined by our very own Sarah McGrew here to talk about the #2 team in the nation, the USC women's water polo team.
Right, and they just took that #2 spot after defeating the previous #2 team, Cal, over the weekend and going now on an 8-game winning streak.
Now this weekend they do take on #1 Stanford, and they also have games followed up against San Jose State and their rival UCLA. Now, Sarah, what are the women of Troy going to have to do when they hit this difficult stretch of the season?
I think defense is going to be the big key here, especially against the Cardinals. Stanford is USC's only loss this season, and they are averaging about 13 points per game. But USC goalie Amanda Longan had 15 saves against Cal, so if she can continue that momentum into the Bay Area, the Trojans have a chance to pull off a big-time win. Here's what Longan thinks will be key.
Fisher is definitely leading that team. Jordan Rainey's another impactful player, as well as a few others, the other Fisher sister. They got girls we have to shut down, and we have to prioritize who we leave open and who we don't, and be smart about it.
The team really seems to be clicking right now, Sarah. And obviously, at this point of the season, that is absolutely critical.
Right, and you can definitely see that chemistry in the pool and out of it. Maud Meggans, who just earned her second MPSF Player of the Week honor this season, talked about her team support system.
Well, the main key for sure is my team. Like, they're making me able to score many goals. They're always there for me. They have my back when it's rough. Like, the first quarter of this game wasn't my best quarter, and after that, like, I finally got back in the game, and that's all on them. So yeah, without them, I couldn't have made it 2 times.
Megan's is also coming off a 4-goal game against Cal, and I think we can really expect to see some big things from her coming up in these next few games.
Yeah, Sarah, definitely a lot of exciting things going on for women's water polo. But for now, let's check back in with Jody as she has an update on men's tennis.
Thanks, Jeff. So this time last year, USC's men's tennis player Lawrence Verboven barely saw any playing time on the court. Now Verboven is dominating in both singles and doubles play for the Trojan team. At the number 4 singles spot for the Trojans this season, Verboven has secured 4 wins and only 2 losses. Last weekend, he took down UCLA's Logan Staggs 6-4 in the first set and 6-0 in the second. Verboven contributes his newfound success to his hard work and resilience on the court.
Really bringing a great energy has been really the difference this season. I've also been putting more work in next to the court. I've been working on my mental game. And that has been really made a difference this season.
Verboven has been an absolute force for the Trojans this year, and he hopes that he can continue his success into the postseason to help his team secure another title. And staying onto the courts, our reporter Drew Jones caught up with sophomore Angela Kulikov after practice for a game of Ask an Athlete.
It's a beautiful day at Mark Stadium, and joining me today is sophomore Angela Kulikov. Today we're going to get to know her, ask her some questions. She has 60 seconds to answer as many questions as possible. Are you ready?
Let's do this.
All right, let's start the timer. All right, so if you could travel anywhere, where would you go?
Australia.
And Starbucks or Coffee Bean?
Starbucks.
What's your most used emoji?
The crying laughing face.
Your favorite warm-up song?
Ooh, Eminem, anything.
Singles or doubles?
Doubles.
Well, who's your favorite tennis player?
Rafa Nadal.
And on your team, who would be best at ping pong?
Best ping pong. Rihanna.
Your funniest teammate?
Gabby.
And your favorite career moment?
Ooh, I'd say clinching Pac-12 semifinals last year.
What's your favorite restaurant in LA?
Lemonade.
Any pregame ritual?
I try to dance. Just try to keep it light. Have fun.
There you go. And how do you like your pizza?
Pepperoni pineapple.
Nice, I love the pineapple. Favorite TV show?
This is us.
Favorite color?
Cardinal.
Awesome, thank you so much. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Drew. Until the final 2 games of this last weekend series against Arizona State, the USC baseball team had gone cold at the plate, as evidenced by their .248 team batting average. The Trojans averaged just 2.5 runs per game over a 17-game stretch from February 27th through March 31st, in which they never scored more than 7 runs and were held to 1 or fewer runs 7 times. Head coach Dan Hubbs discussed his team's struggles in March.
Well, when we were struggling, we just weren't getting hit with men in scoring position. I mean, we've been too much high air, fly balls, strikeouts in big spots. Hopefully this last week gets us back on track.
However, the Trojans have picked it up in recent games, racking up 9 runs against UC Santa Barbara last week and 10 and 8 runs respectively in the final 2 games against Arizona State. Hubbs said he's seen growth from his lineup, which had back-to-back 14-hit games in the wins over the Sun Devils.
Well, I thought overall the guys had lower contact. You know, we were more gap to gap, guys not trying to do too much. I thought we were able to be a little bit more relentless offensively. We've been more of a one-inning team, let's say.
The Trojans will face a stiff challenge at the plate Friday as they begin their home series against Arizona, which ranks 2nd in the Pac-12 with a .280 earned run average. Jeff and Jody, back to you.
Thanks, Aiden. Basketball season may be over, but the Trojan basketball team has been making headlines as of late.
On Monday, it was announced that Benny Boatwright would be returning to USC for his senior season. Before suffering a left patella injury in February, the forward averaged 13.6 points and 6.4 rebounds, 2nd on the team at the time. Now, thank you so much for tuning into Sports Scene. Please follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Annenberg Media Sports. And probably for the last time, it's crazy to say, for Sports Scene, I'm Jody Storm Sullivan.
You're pulling at the heartstrings, Jody, and I'm Jeff Dubrof. Tune in next week for all things USC. We'll see you next time.